The night settles over Beverly Hills with a golden warmth, the kind that makes everything feel like a memory. Store windows shine with soft light, luxury signs glow like stars, and the quiet hum of the city fills the background. A limo slides along Rodeo Drive, its black surface reflecting the bright shops around it. But this is not a story about the streets or the cars. It's a story about a feeling coming back to life. Far away, a familiar hotel stands tall. The same hotel that once saw a love story unfold. Its entrance lights flicker on, almost as if it knows two people who once walked through its doors may soon return. Inside the lobby, the camera glides past polished floors and fresh flowers arranged neatly on a marble desk. A bellhop pushes an empty cart, the wheels echoing softly through the hall. Everything looks the same, yet something feels different, like the building is holding its breath. A table in the corner carries a single red rose in a glass vase. No faces appear, but the atmosphere is full of quiet meaning. It suggests that memories still live here, hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be found again. As the music grows, the visuals shift to a busy street where people move quickly under glowing signs. But the camera focuses on small details. A hand touching a familiar necklace, a folded letter resting on a table, a pair of heels tapping against the sidewalk. These aren't random items. They are reminders of a past that refuses to fade. Each object tells part of a story that once seemed finished, but is now beginning to rise again. The voiceover begins softly, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. Some love stories never truly end. They simply wait for the right moment to return. The scene transitions to a balcony overlooking the entire city. The nightlights flicker like scattered diamonds, stretching endlessly into the distance. A gentle breeze moves the curtains, creating a slow, dreamlike motion that fills the scene with warmth. The camera slowly zooms in on a closed door in a quiet hallway. A small sign hangs on the handle, "Do not disturb." But this time it feels like the sign isn't talking about sleep. It's guarding a memory. A shadow passes over the door, hinting that someone has arrived, someone important. But their face remains unseen, adding mystery to the moment. The mood is filled with expectation, tension, and curiosity. The final shot of this section returns to Rodeo Drive. A shop window shows a mannequin wearing a bright red dress, glowing under the spotlight. The same dress that once changed everything. The same red that became a symbol of a new beginning. The music swells gently as the dress stands silently, like a message from the past placed right in the middle of the future. And with that, the story begins again, quietly, carefully, and beautifully. Morning light pours through tall studio windows, turning sheets of fabric into glowing rivers of color. The room is quiet, except for the soft scratch of a pencil moving across a sketchbook. A hand, steady, confident, and full of purpose, glides over the page, bringing the shape of a dress to life. It's elegant, bold, and unmistakably hers. Vivian's world has changed, but her heart still beats with the same fire that once pushed her to dream of something better. The camera moves slowly, revealing only fragments. Spools of thread, mood boards filled with designs, and a small framed photo hidden on a shelf. It's an old picture from a happier time, face down, as if protecting a memory that hasn't been touched in years. The studio is alive with movement. Assistants walk around with fabric rolls, sewing machines hum softly in a corner, and a calendar on the wall is filled with deadlines and goals. But in the middle of all the noise, there is a quiet space where Vivian stands alone, watching a dress slowly come to life on a mannequin. The dress is simple, yet powerful. Something meant for a woman brave enough to rewrite her own story. Vivian's silhouette leans closer as her hand adjusts a seam, steady but thoughtful, as if she's not just fixing fabric, but fixing a piece of herself too. The voiceover begins gently, carrying a hint of pride and sadness. She became the woman she once only pretended to be. The camera pans across a table filled with reminders of her journey. Fashion sketches with coffee stains, torn pages of old notebooks, and a pair of red heels resting near an open window. The wind pushes through, lifting one sketch into the air and sending it drifting across the room. Vivian catches it before it falls. On the paper is an early design, rough, uneven, drawn during a time when she didn't believe in herself yet. She holds it for a moment, as if remembering the girl she used to be. Closer shots reveal deeper layers, a vintage sewing kit she kept after leaving her past behind, a tiny charm bracelet she never removed, the original necklace box, still closing with that familiar snap. Not for the diamonds inside, but for the reminder of a moment when someone believed she deserved more. She sets it down gently, almost grateful. But success hasn't come easy. A stack of unopened letters sits on her desk. Partnership deals, invitations, opportunities. Each one promises something big, something global. Yet her eyes linger on a single envelope marked Los Angeles Charity Gala. It's simple, elegant, and carries a weight she cannot ignore. She taps it lightly, thinking. The tension builds, not dramatic, but quiet and real, because the decision she makes next could change everything. Outside the studio, city noise mixes with soft music rising in the background. Lights from billboards shine through the window, painting streaks of gold across the floor. Vivian steps toward the balcony, her silhouette framed against the glowing city below. It's a view she fought hard to earn, but her expression, hidden in shadow, hints that something still feels unfinished. She places her hand over the invitation, pressing it lightly. The music slows, deepening the mood. It's clear, this gala isn't just another event. It's a doorway back to a world she left behind. A world filled with memories, promises, and one man she never truly forgot. And in that quiet moment, with the city breathing below her, Vivian realizes something she has tried to ignore for years. Some stories don't fade. They wait. The camera opens on a quiet morning sky, pale and soft, stretching over a city that never stops moving. But above it all, high in a penthouse far from the noise, there is a stillness that feels almost heavy. A large window shows the city waking up, cars flashing by, office lights flickering on, people rushing with purpose. Yet inside this room, time seems slower, almost frozen. A man's hand rests on a polished desk, fingers tapping gently. Not from impatience, but from something deeper. An emptiness he can't quite explain. Edward has everything he once dreamed of. The success, the wealth, the legacy he built piece by piece. But the camera never shows his face, only the traces of his life. Expensive cufflinks left beside a cold cup of coffee, a leather journal with pages worn from years of writing, and a single photograph tucked behind a stack of documents. The photo is turned downward, like a secret he's been trying to hide even from himself. The frame has a small scratch in the corner, the kind that comes from being picked up and put down too many times. The voiceover drifts softly, as if speaking directly to his heart. He reached the top of the world, but somewhere along the way, he lost the part of himself that felt alive. The camera glides across the room, showing moments frozen in time, an untouched piano, a half-finished glass of wine, a chair facing the window where he once sat late into the night. Everything looks neat, perfect, controlled, but perfection can be lonely when the days all feel the same. In the quiet, Edward's hand pulls out a file filled with documents about charity foundations, investments, and community projects. He signs papers like he has done 1,000 times before, but there's no spark, no passion, just routine. When he closes the folder, something small slips out. A faded ticket from a concert long ago. He picks it up slowly, holding it between his fingers. The edges are worn, the ink slightly faded. It's a piece of a life he once shared with someone who changed him more than he ever admitted. The music deepens as he walks toward a shelf full of books and awards. His hand stops at an old opera program, the one from a night that shifted his path forever. He touches it gently, and for the first time, the room seems to breathe. His movements are slow, thoughtful, almost hesitant, as if he's trying to decide whether to open a door he closed years ago. A phone buzzes on the desk, breaking the silence. A message lights up the screen. Los Angeles Charity Gala? Confirm attendance? Edward stares at the notification, the city lights reflecting softly through the window behind him. The gala is familiar, a yearly event he rarely misses. But this year, something feels different. His hand hovers over the screen, not just because of the event, but because he senses something, or someone, waiting on the other side of the decision. He steps toward the window, watching the sun rise over the skyscrapers. Shadows stretch long across the buildings, and for a moment, the world looks like it did many years ago. Before responsibilities, before titles, before the distance that grew between him and the woman he once loved. His reflection appears faintly in the glass, blurred by time and regret. Then, almost painfully slow, he turns the photo on his desk face up. But instead of revealing the image, the camera stays focused on his hand, tightening around the frame. A tremble, small but real, runs through his fingers. He knows the face behind the glass. He remembers the laugh, the courage, the fire in her eyes. And he remembers how much he wishes he had told her. The night of the gala begins like a slow breath held by the entire city. Beverly Hills glows under soft golden lights, quiet but full of secrets waiting to unfold. Outside the venue, cameras flash at arriving guests, their silhouettes moving like shadows across velvet carpets. The air feels thick, almost electric, as if something important is about to happen, something the city has been waiting years to witness. Inside the grand hall, chandeliers shine like floating stars, casting warm reflections across glass tables and polished marble floors. But the camera never focuses on faces. Instead, it follows the tiny details. A hand adjusting a silver bracelet, fingers smoothing a silk gown, polished dress shoes stepping onto the floor for the first time. The music of the live orchestra swells gently from the corner, wrapping the room in soft elegance and quiet anticipation. Vivian enters through a side doorway, her presence felt before she even steps into the light. The camera captures only glimpses, the curve of her shoulder, the shimmer of her dress, the steady motion of her breathing as she pauses to take in the scene. She is confident, successful, changed, but somewhere deep inside, a small part of her is still unsure about what she might find tonight. Her hand briefly touches the necklace, the same one she once held so close to her heart. She sighs softly, steadying herself, then walks deeper into the hall. Across the room, Edward arrives moments later. His steps are slow, controlled, but his hands reveal the truth. One rests loosely in his pocket, while the other hovers slightly in front of him, almost as if he's searching for something to hold on to. The camera follows his movements closely. The way he straightens his cuff, the way he quietly adjusts his tie, the subtle tremble he hides when he glances at the entrance. He doesn't know she is already here. He doesn't know how close his past is to walking right beside him. The hall grows louder as more guests arrive, yet somehow their presence creates a strange silence between them, a space untouched by time. It is in that silence that their paths finally begin to align. Vivian steps toward a table lined with charity auction items. Antique jewelry, framed art, signed books. Her fingers pause over a delicate silver bracelet, the kind of gift someone might give when they don't know how to say what they truly feel. Edward moves toward the same display from the opposite direction, drawn not by the items but by a feeling he can't explain. His steps slow as he approaches, sensing something familiar in the air. The camera switches between their hands, inches apart, reaching toward the same object without realizing it. The music softens to a gentle heartbeat. Then it happens. Their hands brush. Not fully. Not enough to see. But enough to feel something powerful. Vivian's breath catches for a moment, her fingers freezing midair. Edward's hand shakes ever so slightly before he pulls it back. They don't speak. They don't turn. They simply stand there, caught between memory and reality. The camera, refusing to reveal their faces, captures only their silhouettes as they finally turn toward each other. The lights behind them blur their outlines, making them appear like two shadows meeting across time. Vivian's lips part slightly, as if she wants to speak but can't. Edward takes a small step closer, the sound of his shoe echoing through the quiet space. A soft line of dialogue floats through the air, spoken like a secret too heavy to keep any longer. "Is it really you? After all this time?" Vivian doesn't respond right away. Her hand tightens around the edge of her clutch, her shoulders lifting with a quiet breath. When she finally speaks, her voice is gentle but filled with the weight of years. "I wasn't sure I would ever see you again." The room fades around them. The guests, the lights, the music, they all fall away. It's just the two of them, standing in the middle of a moment they never thought they'd experience again. A moment that feels both impossible and inevitable. The orchestra softly shifts into a warm, slow melody. A spotlight glows behind the pair, turning their shadows into one long, connected shape across the marble floor. For the first time in many years, they are not running from the past. They're standing in it, together. Music drifts softly through the gala hall as the night continues, but for Edward and Vivian, the world feels strangely still, like time has paused only for them. After their unexpected moment together, they move to opposite sides of the room, each carrying a quiet storm inside. The camera follows them separately, letting the tension build without a single visible face. Only their hands, their posture, their small movements reveal everything now boiling beneath the surface. Vivian stands near a tall window that overlooks the glowing city below. Her fingers slide across the cool glass as she tries to calm her racing thoughts. Behind her, conversations and laughter fill the hall, but she hears none of it. Her mind is heavy with memories she thought she had buried. The camera sees her shoulders rise and fall slowly, as if she's fighting to breathe evenly. In her hand, she holds the envelope from earlier, the one about expanding her brand overseas. It trembles slightly between her fingers, a choice waiting, a future calling. But tonight, the past has returned, asking for its own place. Across the hall, Edward leans against a railing near the staircase. His hands are clasped tightly, knuckles pale, as though he is holding back words he doesn't trust himself to say. He pulls a small square object from his pocket, a folded note, worn from years of being opened and closed. The camera zooms just enough to show a hint of ink, a line that reads, "Thank you for seeing me," a message from long ago. A message that changed him more than he ever said. His thumb presses over the words, almost like he's trying to remember what it felt like to believe in love. But life has not made things simple for either of them. Vivian's assistant approaches her, whispering quickly about a major opportunity. A global partnership that could turn her brand into a worldwide name. The assistant hands her a tablet showing mock-ups of international stores, headlines, bright possibilities. Vivian watches silently, the glow of the screen reflecting off her jewelry. Yet her expression, the camera only revealing the slight tightening of her jaw, shows she's not fully present. A question pulls at her. What good is success if the heart behind it feels incomplete? Meanwhile, Edward receives a message on his phone. It's from his doctor. A reminder for a follow-up appointment he has been avoiding. The camera focuses on his thumb, hovering over the notification, hesitating, almost afraid. The truth is hinted at but never spoken. He is facing something deeper than loneliness, something that makes him rethink the future he thought was secure. He pockets the phone quickly, as if he's trying to hide his vulnerability from the world. The tension escalates when their paths cross again on a balcony outside the main hall. The city below glimmers like a sea of stars. Vivian steps out first, arms folded gently across her chest, her breath visible in the cool air. Moments later, Edward joins her, stopping a short distance away. Neither speaks, but the silence between them is louder than any argument. Finally, Vivian breaks, her voice soft but sharp with emotion. "We had our goodbye, Edward. Why now? Why tonight?" He looks down, hands gripping the railing. "Because I never meant it to be permanent," he says, the words shaky but honest. "I thought time would make it easier. It didn't." The camera shifts to their silhouettes, two outlines under the city lights, angled toward each other, yet separated by everything they didn't say over the years. Vivian turns slightly, her head lowering. "I built a new life, and now I'm supposed to choose between what I made and what I lost." Her voice cracks, small but powerful. Edward steps closer, not enough to touch her, but enough to change the air. "I'm not asking you to choose me. I'm asking you to forgive me for letting you go." The wind moves between them, carrying their shared pain. Vivian's hand lifts to her chest, pressing lightly over her heartbeat. "Forgiveness isn't the hard part," she whispers. "It's deciding whether to open the door again." The music rises, slow and emotional. The balcony lights flicker softly. Their shadows stretch long across the floor, moving closer even though they stand still. And at that moment, the real conflict becomes clear. This isn't just about love returning. It's about whether two people, changed by life and time, can rewrite a story without breaking again. The night begins to fade, and the gala winds down. But the story between Edward and Vivian is far from over. The camera moves through the quiet hall slowly, capturing empty chairs, half-finished glasses, and a soft glow from the chandeliers that now shine a little dimmer. Music from the orchestra drifts into silence, leaving only the gentle echo of the evening behind. The energy of the night settles like dust in the air. Beautiful, delicate, full of memory. Outside, the city breathes under a deep blue sky, glowing softly like a dream half awake. The camera takes us through a series of quiet, faceless moments, each one a piece of the future they have not yet spoken about. A taxi turns a corner, headlights sweeping across the pavement. A street musician packs his guitar, humming a tune about old love stories. A florist closes her shop, placing a single rose in the window before shutting off the lights. Each image feels like the world gently preparing for a new beginning. Then, the montage shifts. Vivian walks through her studio late at night. The lights are low, her shadow long across the floor. She pauses beside the mannequin wearing her newest dress, the one she designed with excitement but finished in silence.